What's up, guys? This is Inspector Fluffy. Hope you guys are having a great and blessed day. Hope it's been an awesome day for you. And if you're just getting your day started, don't forget that cup of coffee, that glass of orange juice, or your preferred carbonated energy drink. And guys, I hope it's a great and blessed one for you as well. So, guys, thank you for clicking on the video. I do appreciate the support. And speaking of that, guys, we have only been active for a week now. This is the fourth video in our series. We posted the first one 7 days ago, and across the first three videos, you guys have given us over 100 views. That actually exceeded my expectations, to be quite honest with you. We got about 20 subscribers, so it's about a 20% yield based on the amount of views that we've had. So, guys, thank you so much. I'm really humbled when I saw those numbers earlier today. So, guys, thank you for the support. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Don't forget to hit the like button. That supercharges the algorithm so this video can get out to more people. We can help more people who are struggling with the custom setups in NASCAR 25, and also ring the notification bell so that way when we put out our videos, you will be notified. All right, guys, thank you so much again for supporting the channel. So we're going back. This is our fourth video, as I said a moment ago, and the Craftsman Truck Series trucks setup tutorial guide for the different tracks that are on the Craftsman Truck Series schedule. And today we're going to a track for me, a sentimental. My dad took me to this track for my first NASCAR race back in 1978. So I was 7 years old at the time. So you math the math, and you can kind of get an idea of just how old Fluff is here. It's a very technical track. Darrell Waltrip, old DW, had a lot of success here. He had 11 wins. I think King Richard Petty had 15. So Darrell didn't beat old King yet, but he did. He had a lot of success here. So we're going to run the DW paint scheme here for this track. Today we are going to Martinsville Speedway, located in beautiful Martinsville, Virginia, also nicknamed the Paperclip. And this is a very technical track. We have some things that we need to discuss before we actually go in to the track and start running some laps. So let's go to Martinsville. And what I'm going to do here is a little different. On Las Vegas, we actually went out with the default settings that are in the setup garage, and we went out and tried to attempt to do a hot lap with that default setting. Today, though, we're not going to do that. And the reason, well, we are going to do that, but the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go out and we're going to run a pace lap. And what I want to do, take you out on the track. I want to show you approximately where my braking points are at, how I turn the truck in to the entry, and then get it to roll through the center, and then where I start getting back on the throttle for the exit so we can get that straight line drive down the straightaway to try to generate as much speed down the straightaway as we possibly can before we get into the next braking zone. So let's go out and do that first. And we're just going to run a slow lap here, guys. We're not going to get in a hurry. All right. Put it in second gear here. All right. So this is the backstretch going into turn 3. And I'm going to stop right here. As you can see, we've got the safety cones that are in the catch fence. And we've got one that has 3 cones in it. We've got the next one with 2 cones in it, and the next one with 1 cone in it. So these are feet markers. And I would assume that the 3 is for 300 foot, the 2 cones are for 200 foot, and the 1 is for 100 foot before you actually get to the turn. That's what I would assume. I'm not sure. I know they do that on most of the road courses, give you a distance marker either in meters or feet until you reach the braking or reach the corner. So it gives the driver somewhere to kind of have a marker for their braking points. On this track here, I start really applying the brake between the number 3 cone and the number 2 cone. As the run goes on, I will actually back the corner up some, and I will start braking at the number 3, but I won't be braking quite as heavy because the front tires are going to be hot. They're going to start getting slick. If you brake too heavily, you're just going to skid like you're on a pair of skis. Now, as far as actually getting into the corner, I usually, when I start braking, the truck will start to already head to the inside. Now, there are a couple lines. You can actually you can probably do a wide sweeping turn into the corner if you can get the truck to turn real well. where your front tires will enter the corner somewhere about right here where the pavement starts, and you'll be braking, and then you'll let the truck rotate into the entry, and you'll hit the apex of the corner in the center, and then you'll keep the truck rotating and then coming off. You're staying on the concrete, and then about right here, you're a full throttle at this point, and you're starting to get your straightaway line. Okay, that's one way of attacking either end of Martinsville, turns 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. Again, we have our braking markers right here. We've got the 3 cones here into turn 1, and we've got the 2 cone here. Again, in the beginning of the run, I start braking right between the 3rd and the 2nd cone marker, okay, or the 2nd and the 3rd cone marker, right in between there. And with this turn, both ends are very similar to one another, but they do have their own characteristics, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with the curbing. Now, when I go into 1, most of the time I'm getting right in here as quickly as I can, and I'm getting right down to the curb as close as I can. Now, you don't want to hit the curb because it will upset the truck. And then keep the truck rotating through and coming off as close as you possibly can. But if you notice, that curb is very, very smooth as far as the radius. It's got an even turn all the way through turns 1 and 2. We get down here in 3 and 4, and I'm going to show you there is a difference in the curbing. The banking is pretty much the same. The groove is pretty much the same. But if you get in here and you get right against this curb here in this turn, and you keep consistently staying near this curb, it jets out right here. Right about here. Let me put this in reverse, and I'll show you. It kind of straightens out just a hair. Right here is the real sharp point of it. And then right about in here, it starts to straighten out just a hair. And then if you come down too much, right here, you'll clip that. It'll upset the rear end of the truck, and you'll either spin out or head towards the wall, okay? I'm gonna run both these at a little bit more speed here so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. We're gonna just stay down in 2nd gear. I'm braking about right in here. And the truck, you can run this line here, and you can just run right against the curb. Keep that truck rotating through the corner and let it kind of start coming off the corner. Maybe not quite that late, maybe a little bit, let it go in a little bit more towards turns 2 curbing. And then you're going to go down the straightaway. Now turns 3, there's another line you can do. You can actually go in real shallow in these corners, and you can let it kind of drift up in the center if you don't have anybody on that side of it, and you can cut it back down and do what they call diamonding the corner. So those are the 2 different lines that you can run at Martinsville Speedway. You can run the outside line too, but it's not as efficient. So we're going to brake. We're going to let the car settle down in the corner, and then we're going to rotate. I can't do this really at this speed because of the way the truck's set up with this default setting. I'm going to brake here, let the truck rotate in the corner, and then get back out. Now see, if you dive that back down in too quickly, then what's going to happen is you're going to hit that curb, and it's going to upset the truck for sure. All right, just like that. Let's just run a couple of laps here with this default setting. Show you what we're working with, and you cut back down. That's diamonding the corner right there to get that drive off of the exit. Let the truck rotate. Get back on the gas. Brake. Diamond the corner. Come off turn 4. Get back on the straightaway. Get the power down as much as possible. And right there's our baseline. We ran a 20.7, okay? So we're going to go back into the setup garage here, and we're going to start working on our setup. All right, so a couple things we need to talk about first before we actually start making changes. Here at Martinsville, you got a heavy braking area going into the entry in turns 1 and turns 3. So we have to remember that when we're under heavy braking, we're shifting a lot of weight and a lot of force from the rear of the truck to the front of the truck. So remember I said in other videos, these things really do like soft springs, and that's true. They do like soft springs. But we still have to understand that we're dealing with physics here and inertia. So we're going to have to run stiffer springs on this truck here at Martinsville, okay? And I've already got a setup for this, but what we're going to do is we're going to set this up with some really stiff springs, and we're going to try our best to take it out and run some laps. Once we get the truck to where it's feeling comfortable and rotating, then that's when we're going to start fine tuning the truck in on the settings through shocks, through the nose weight, sway bars, things of that nature. But guys, the real important adjustment that we're going to be making in this setup with this truck here at Martinsville is the brake bias. If you have too much front brake bias or too much percentage of brake bias, all that braking is being done with the front. If you have too little and it's braking more with the rear end, it's going to rotate too quick and snap on entry, possibly, okay? Or you're not going to be able to achieve the rotation that you need. So we're going to start, first of all, by taking our cambers up to the max level, just like on the other one. We're going to bring all tire pressures down to 13. Okay, we already had that on the left side. We're going to bring that down on the right side as well. And then we're going to go to our left front spring rate. Now on our left front spring rate, I'm going to, let's see here. How high does this go? All right, it goes to 87.75. And our start was at 43.20. So I think a good starting point for this, let's start at 65.47.5 pounds on the left front spring rate. And on the right front spring rate, I don't want to go that high. Let's start at, what do I want to do here? Yeah, let's start there. Let's start there. And now, remember on the other videos, guys, we had a higher spring rate on the right side than we did the left, but we were on a super speedway. We didn't have really a whole lot of braking. We had some weight transferring, and we were managing that weight transfer to get the car to turn in on entry. Here's different. When you have a higher spring rate on the left side, it will actually help the car turn better under braking because we're putting more of a load on that tire. So the weight, as you go into the entry in the center, the weight is shifting from the left to the right. But in here, we're also shifting it from the rear to the front, okay? And we're doing it in a very forceful manner. So what we want to do is we don't want to burn up that right front tire by putting on too big of a right front spring. We want to have the left front tire doing its portion of work as well. And you'll see what I mean. We got to have a softer spring rate. In my opinion, you have to have a softer spring rate on that right front. Now, on the rear, when we get back into the throttle, guys, we got to have stiff enough springs back there to where when the weight transfer, it doesn't leave the front as much to where, think of it like this. If you've got a pickup truck and you put a big load of gravel in the back of that bed, right? And you start taking off, the first thing you notice is that the back end is squatting and the front end's up. You go over, a bump or something, you may notice that the steering will get really light because you've got so much weight on the rear end. The rear end's got a lot of bite. Tires are getting max traction back there, but you're losing a little bit of the control in the steering because you're taking weight off the front end. So when we're getting back on the throttle, we want to shift that weight to the back so we can deliver as much bite coming off the corner as we need in order to generate what power we need to get our straightaway speed. But if we do too much, we're going to lose the steering in it. So what's going to happen is it's going to understeer as we're coming off the corner and head out towards the wall because we don't have enough grip on the front tires. At the same time, if we don't shift enough back, then we're not going to be able to get the drive off the corner we need, and the car may continue to turn, which it gets loose because the front tires are grabbing, but we don't have enough weight generated to the rear to get the power to drive off the corner, okay? So it's a balancing act. This is a teeter-totter. Remember I talked about the table? If you got one leg that's shorter or longer than the other legs, it's not balanced. Again, I cannot stress the word balance. We've got to find the balance in the truck in order to produce good, consistent, and fast laps. So on the rear springs here, what we're going to do on this, we're actually going to raise those. Um, let's see. I don't want to go too high here. Let's start at about a 345 from the original setting, which was right around, what was it? 240, I think is what it was. Yeah, 240. We're going to go to 345 on the left rear spring, and on the, so that's going to tighten it up a little bit, okay? That's going to help us tighten up the rear end just a bit from being so loose. If we left it like that, we'd be really loose because of the way we've set up the front spring so far. On the right rear spring, we're at 440. I'm going to actually raise that only by one because I want to keep some stagger in the spring rate on the rear end, comparable to what we've got on the front end, okay? Let's move over to sway bar. We're going to start, this might be a tick loose on entry, so let's go up to 2.19 here. And what that does is, remember, the front sway bar only affects the front of the car, mostly the entry and center. And the higher this setting, the tighter the front end will be. The lower the setting, the looser it will be. So as we go through this setup, we may find we need to actually bring that down in order to get the turn better into the entry and the center, okay? On wheel lock, because this is a very tight track as far as the cornering, I'm actually going to go back up on this to about 7 degrees. This is that was personal preference. Brake bias, let's leave that at 58% right now. That's about, in my opinion, pretty equal brake bias from the front to the back, okay? Gear ratio, we're going to go, let's go with the high gear ratio on this to begin with. We started on low on the other two videos. The wedge, we really don't know what we've got right now, so I'm not going to change the wedge, but if it's too tight, we're definitely going to bring that wedge down as an adjustment to get it to roll through the center and center off better. Left weight, of course, because we are making those left-hand turns, we're going to do 53%. Nose weight, I always like bringing that down to 51.5 when I'm starting. It's just a habit that I have. And then on the steering offset, we're going to start off at 47. Sway bar, I'm not going to do anything with it right now because I don't even know how the truck's going to rotate based on what we've done so far. So let's take this and let's go in and run a lap. Now our goal time for this, with the settings we have, I've got a 105 AI setting and 2% wear. So our goal time for this at this point is 19.848. I have achieved that with a setup before, but I've only done it one time with a 19.818. It's going to take me a minute to kind of get in rhythm here. This is a rhythm track, so it takes me a second. So we'll run a couple laps as warm-up. See if we can get the truck to start rotating a little bit. It's rotating a little bit tight off the corner. We are heavily into the brakes. We're letting the truck rotate in the center. We're full throttle now. Letting the brakes kind of bring us in and rotate us into the center of the corner. We're diamonding 3 and 4. We're tight in the center and the entry's not quite right yet. We're getting close on the entry, but remember, I typically start with the entry. That was a little bit better. That was much better cornering there. We're having to brake a little bit too far into the corner to get it to rotate, so we got to work on our entry first. Yeah, we got to definitely work on the entry. So let's go back in. Let's see if we can fix this entry speed, all right, or the entry, how the car is rotating in the entry. So I want to bring, I still don't think these front springs are high enough. I really don't. I really don't believe they're high enough yet because we're not getting the bite, and I don't think we have enough stagger between the left front and the right front. So I'm going to raise this up. Let's just go by one. Remember, we want one change at a time. So we're going to go up one click on that left front, and that's going to help us help that side work harder. It's going to help it rotate into the entry better. So let's just do one adjustment at a time so we know if it made a change or not. Yeah, that's better. Enter the corner better because that left front is working. It's sharing the lion's share of the work now. You see how, now see I hit the curb there. That was my fault. I braked a little bit too late in there. Truck is rotating pretty good through the center. We got some work to do there. I'm focusing on the entry right now. And I braked a little bit too late there as well. That was a little bit better. I need to pay more attention to my braking zone. That was a good rotation there. I just want to be able to get on the throttle a little bit better and it still rotates. I'm having to kind of ease into the throttle more than I want to. I want to be able to get right back on the throttle so we can get as much straightaway speed as possible. So far our best lap has been a 20.116. See, already those changes to those front spring rates and the rear spring rates, some of the other small adjustments we made, we went from what was it, a 20.7, we're already down to a 20.116 with these changes. Excuse me. So I still want that front to bite, but I feel like we need to go up and close that stagger between the right front and the left front spring rate. So on this one, let's go up 2 clicks from where we're at. We were at 43.20. Let's go up 2 clicks on that. Now, this is going to cause the truck to push in most circumstances because the higher you go with this spring rate, the more understeer or push or tightness it puts into that corner of the truck. But remember, guys, we are shifting a ton away. A lot of it's going to this right front because we're not only shifting it forward, but we're going into a left-hand turn, so the weight's shifting from the left to the right as well. So we're sending a lot of force to that right front. But if we put too heavy of a spring on it and it's taking too much load, the load will be transferred to the tire. We'll wear the tires out too quick. So let's save this. Let's go out and let's see what we can do with that. So our best time so far is a 20.116. See if we can match or do better on that with this change here. Now it tightened it up for sure because we closed that stagger up. We closed that stagger up between the left and the right front spring rate. Rolled pretty good through there. A lot of that has to do with hitting your braking points too. Not braking too late or too early, letting the truck roll into the corner. And then see, now it's tight through the center there. I tried to get in it too quickly. So some of that was driving, wasn't really changed, but we got to get that stagger between the left front and the right front back in. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise this left front up by one more click, okay? Now, when we do that, it's going to put more of the lion's share of the work over on the left front. But we want that. We want that left front to grip to help us not only get into the entry, but help us rotate through the corner because we're putting more of a load on that side with that stiffer spring. I think also, based on what I'm feeling, we probably need to go up on the bump because that's going to act like the shock or the spring. The stiffer this bump is, the more the more work that it will do. So I want to stiffen the bump up. On the rebound for this, I think I'm going to go down one, so that way it will open up quickly enough to where it's going to shift weight back to the rear end where we can get that drive off, okay? On the right front, I'm going to stay there for that right now because, again, I wanted to open up that stagger between the left front and the right front. That way, like I said, we can get that left front doing the lion's share of the work. And on the bump, feel like we need to soften that up a little bit since we've got a stiffer spring than what we would normally run on the right front. And on the rebound, I think we'll just leave it there because I want to shift the weight to the rear end, but not too quickly, if that makes sense. Because I want the bite there, but I want that right front as we're shifting weight back to the rear end to still take a minute to decompress so we still have traction on that tire, load on that tire as we're coming out of the corners, if that makes sense. Now, the other thing I want to do to help us get into the entry better, I want to lower this sway bar to loosen that front end up. I'm going to do 2 clicks. So we've made spring adjustment on the left front. I know we made more than one, but I got a good feel of what we need at this point to work on the entry. We've changed the front spring rate. We changed the bump and the rebound there on the left. We changed the bump on the right to soften that, to let that spring close a little bit quicker. And we're taking sway bar out on that front end so that that weight, by making that diameter of that bar smaller, we're allowing weight to shift from the left to the right a little bit more, okay? So let's save this and let's go out and let's go run a lap. See what we can do. Drive felt better off there. Good rotation there. Almost hit the curb, but we didn't. Good drive right off there. Came out, floated out nicely. That was a good change. I know it wasn't reflected in the time, but that was a good change, guys. Worked real well. Now I screwed that entry up trying to look at what time we ran. Let's run one more lap, see what we can do here. Hit the curb. This is a technical track. It can be difficult to drive. All right, so we ran a 1:64. We still hadn't beat our best time yet, but we're still working on the setup. All right, so entry's feeling pretty good under braking. We could work on that a little bit more, but I want to kind of shift our focus to the rear end here a little bit. Now we're running a 345 spring rate on this left rear. I want to increase that so the left rear is also doing some work too. We're putting more load on that. Let's go to a 380 on that. I want that spring to decompress so we can get drive and rotation. So we're actually going to go in and lower that, which will loosen it back up. By raising this up, we're actually tightening up that corner. I want to bring that back down because remember, guys, I said on this left rear, when you make a change, it's a drastic change. So let's go down to a 4 on that, and the rebound, so we're not shifting too much weight to the front on the braking and it causing an understeer situation towards the right front side. Remember, this weight is shifting dynamically from the left rear to the right front. So let's stiffen that rebound up a little bit. Let's go take this and see what that does. I'm trying my best to tell you what I'm feeling when I'm entering the corners and what the truck is doing. So we turn it in there nicely. You guys can see the truck's driving pretty good right now. All right, 20.195. Our best lap is still a 20.116. We're rotating pretty decently now. Some of that was driver error, but I think what I want to do, I want to increase that spring just a little bit more, but I want to bring down the spring on this side. I want to also, because I'm getting a little bit too much rotation off the exit. I can feel it because I'm having to counter steer a little bit when I'm coming off the exit to get it to head out towards the outside wall, because we've got that left front really gripping throughout the entirety of the corner, the entry, the center off, and the exit. And I don't want it to do too much rotation. So we're going to actually stiffen this up a little bit, tighten it up a little bit. The bump, we're going to be at about 5. The rebound, I'm going to leave it 8. Sway bar, I'm kind of happy with where it's at right now. The brake bias, though, nope. I'm going to continue to do what I say I'm going to do, make just a few changes at a time. Let's go out and try it, and then we'll move on. This is a tedious process. I'm trying to keep the videos as short as possible so I don't bore you guys. But this is all good information, so you can take it. I mean, if you take my setup at the end of this video, if we can get a good goal time and it's not working for you as well as it may be for me, it's because of driving styles. And then you need to have the knowledge where you can go make changes for yourself. It was rotating a little bit more there than what I want it to. We're able to get back on the throttle a little bit better. Not driving bad. All right, so we got a 159 out of that. And guys, some of this is my driving. Some of it is just the setup. What's the truck doing on entry? It's getting in pretty good, but as soon as it gets in the entry, it's coming out and away. So we need to start working now on the very latter half of the entry and the center. And the way we're going to do that, let's get this thing to start rotating. Let's go to the rear sway bar. I'm going to take this bad boy up because remember I said this is not that far. This is a fine-tune adjustment. The higher the sway bar, the more rotation you get in the rear end. The rear sway bar is for the rear end. The front sway bar is for the front end of the car. So let's take that and see if that makes an improvement. Oh yeah, I can tell already. Look at what that sway bar did for us. It's rotating nicely. Oh yeah, that felt really nice. I think it's going to allow us to get in our braking zone a little bit further, a little bit deeper. So there's a 144, so we're getting closer back to that 119. So we're starting to rotate a little bit better because we added that sway bar. I'm going to add some more sway bar. It's working right now. Let's go with that, see what that does. I feel like our next adjustment is going to be wedge, because I don't feel like we're getting enough of that dynamic wedge transfer that we need for that really good solid rotation and to keep speed through the corner and being able to get back on the throttle a little bit quicker, because it's not turning as well as I would like it to, or rotating freely. Freely is what I'm trying to say. Not loose, but free. And some of it's my driving. You got to get in a rhythm. This is, again, a rhythm track. Got in there real good. Got against the curb a little bit, but not too bad. There we go. That's a little bit better, turn 3 and 4. That was just by paying attention a little bit more. So, sorry about that. Our time now is 20.089. We're getting better rotation now. Our goal is to get in the 19s. I don't know if we'll beat the goal time or not, but our goal for today is get in the 19s. So, I'm good with the sway bar, front and back. We're getting good rotation, but I want to bring this wedge down some. And I'm going to go to 48.5. And on that nose weight, to tighten it back up a little bit, I'm going to go to 51.6. Because I know with that much wedge, it's going to loosen or free the truck up a lot more. But we need that in order to be able to get down back on the power for our straightaways. Yeah, it's already turning down in a lot better. I hit the curve, my fault. I'm just trying to hit that curve as much as I can, ain't I? All right, 20.10. So we're at least getting consistent now with our lap times, or getting close to being consistent. Let's see, we've got that. Right front's looking good and feeling good. Left front's looking good and feeling good. I think what I want to do is bring that wedge down just another click or two, and maybe take that nose weight up, because that was a good change. So let's try that change again. Let's bring it down to 47.5, and let's take this up to 51.7. See what that does. And we may need to work with our brake bias just a little bit more to get the rear end to help with turning in. Get a good drive off of 4 so we can get some straightaway speed here to get into 1. Yeah, the truck's turning down in really nice now. This feels like a good lap. I don't know whether it'll be or not, but it felt like a good lap. Let's run one more after this one. Getting a little bit too much rotation there. So yeah, we had a 20.043 on the previous lap. So we're doing good. We're getting better. I really want to get in the 19. So, front end, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty good. But I need that left front to do some more work. So we're going to raise this up on the left rear. I'm happy with that. And by changing that bump, by raising that bump, it puts more load on that left front to where it can do some more work for us in turning and rotating. We're still just a tick too tight through the center because we're going in, but then we're having to still continue to brake a little bit more than what we want to in the center or the latter part of the entry, the center and center off. We're still a tick too tight. I need to be able to come off the brake towards that latter part of the entry to let the truck rotate and then be able to get back on the gas fairly quickly. Right now I'm having to float the gas in or the throttle in before it feels comfortable enough to go full on throttle, okay? On the front end, on this right front, on the bump, I'm going to leave it at 5 and 8, and I'm going to leave the spring at 5805. The rear, I really want to bring that rebound down to put a little bit more movement to that right front. So I'm going to bring that down to 6 so that shock will open up a little bit more. Sway bar I'm good with. Let's bring this brake bias down to 56%. That's going to help the truck turn in the entry a little bit better. Give it a little bit more straighter entry into the entry. That way we can start hugging those curves a little bit better and get better rotation. The wedge I'm not going to mess with. Gear ratio, you know, you got to run the high gear here because they don't give us enough gear in iRacing. Nose weight I'm not going to change. Steering offset I'm good, and sway bar I'm good. So let's go with those changes there. Let's go back out and see what we can do. Hopefully we can make a good lap. I'm not expecting to get to that 848. I would love to. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it today, but at least this will be a setup where I think you'll be able to be competitive and consistent in the lobbies. Yeah, she's turning down nicely there. We were able to hug that curve real well. And I'm able to actually make my braking point a little bit deeper. Oops. All right, let's start that lap over again. All right. That is not the settings. That is my driving. I'm starting to get tired here. All right. One last time. Let's see what we can do here before we change anything else. All right. That was a lot of driving right there on my part that wasn't done really well. I'm going to bring this down one more click. Let's go out and see if that makes any difference. I don't feel like the wedge is low enough quite yet. But I don't want to go too much, then we're going to start getting loose off the corner. Yep, that might have been a little bit too loose. Let me try it one more time. There we go. 19905. We got a good thing going here, guys. You just got to know how to drive it. I need some more practice with this, but that's a good lap. I've done a 19818 with the other one I got, so I'll probably work with this a little bit more. The one thing I'm noticing is that I can go into the braking zone just a hair bit deeper than what I was before. I'm still in between that number 3 and number 2 cone marker, but I'm a little bit later into it. That doesn't give me as much of a shallow entry, which I think is good. That's something that I just learned right there. I'm going to show you one more lap here. Maybe a couple more laps, and then we're going to cut the video right there. Because I don't know if I can get to the goal time today or not. $19.97 out, and that was with letting off on the gas. So guys, I think that's where we're going to stop today's video. I didn't get to the goal time, but if you can get in the 19 seconds in the trucks, I think you're doing pretty good. So a 19.9, pretty consistent. We almost hit a 19.8, or we were at a 0.9 or a 0.905. So I think we got something here pretty good, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please put in the comments any criticisms, put any type of good constructive criticisms in the comments. If you'd like to see anything different here with our videos, it'd be greatly appreciated. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you learned some stuff. Guys, this is a difficult track for me. I'm not the best here. I've raced against some guys that are really, really good here. Big Rob and Lateral and Jay, they're really good here. It's a group of guys I run with. Anyways, this is much better than what I ran in the past consistently. So having those front springs at a higher rate like that with that stagger between the left front and the right front, I think is where the sweet spot's at. I may take that bump down just a little bit more in order to get it to rotate a little bit better. That'll be for another day. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching the video. Hope it was helpful. And remember, guys, keep looking up because Jesus is coming back.